Hey Trekkies, welcome to another edition of Rambling About Star Trek. My name is Chris Fox, where I ramble and rant about all things Star Trek. Today, I want to discuss something, well, perhaps discuss in a very loud, passionate way, something that really bothers me, but something that is so insignificant, so unimportant that it has no bearing on the quality of the show. Yet it frustrates me because I think about it every time I watch an episode, and that is the question of why are there so many pads on Star Trek? Why do so many characters use so many pads all the time? Pads! 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 For those of you who don't know, pads are the Star Trek equivalent of a tablet, and in this show they're used for status reports, different reports on military activity, personnel reports. Anytime a character is doing paperwork, they're actually using a pad, which is fine. It makes sense. It's the future. They have tablets, no problem. They're doing their pads, they're doing their thing. But what I don't get, and what aggravates me to no end, is the number of pads that people seem to use. There are scenes on all of this series, you'll have your captain in the ready room. For example, Captain Picard will be in his ready room doing very serious, important spaceship work and doing all their things, and they'll have their little laptop computer, and they'll have like 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 pads on the desk. It's ridiculous. One example that comes to mind is an episode in Deep Space Nine where Dr. Bashir is overseeing the care of a group of genetically engineered humans. And in that episode, he discovers they have really unique insights into the Dominion War and actually provide their own analysis on what they think the Federation should do to win. And to do that, they use some crazy mathematics and a bunch of other crazy stuff that I just don't understand. And there's a great scene where Bashir is trying to show Captain Sisko just how great the insights are, and in that scene he provides Sisko with maybe 6, 7, 8 pads, and it's ridiculous. My question is, why not just use one pad for multiple things? So maybe have 2 or 3. I myself personally have my laptop and have a tablet, which is normal. The average person probably has a laptop, a tablet, maybe a second tablet if they have the money for it, but generally you don't get into numbers more than 3 tablets, which makes sense because we live in a real world. We all have limited resources, we don't have unlimited money, and we don't have unlimited time. But each tablet in our world today can do multiple things. So then why in Star Trek do they have so many tablets? What is the point of having so many pads, tablets, pads, tablets? I can't even keep track of when I say pads or tablets because it gets so confusing because there's so many of them. Why? Whew, I gotta calm down. And this stuff gets me going. This is what I like to yell about. And this is why I'm doing this channel. And if you get this passionate about it, please hit that subscribe button. I don't know why I'm doing a plug in the middle of my own video. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm ranting and I'm revved up and I want to talk about this some more. Why is it that so many characters use so many pads all the time? Well, I thought about this and I really only have 2 explanations in the universe. And I want to say with these 2 explanations, I don't love them because they kind of paint the Federation and, characters in Star Trek in a bad light. So my first explanation / theory is because of their ability to create things out of thin air, basically. On Star Trek, as we all know, they have an ability to replicate things using a replicator, which is great. It's sci-fi, it's cool, it makes sense. But the problem is, I suspect that because it's so easy to make things, the characters on the show might just say, you know what, instead of just using 1 or 2 tablets, you know what, I'm just going to go replicate a 3rd one. I can get it in a second. It's right there. It's easy. So because it's so accessible, I think characters will then just use them all the time, excessively for everything, because it's just so easy to create because they have replicators, which is fine. It makes sense. It's that universe. What I don't love about that explanation is it kind of makes all the characters in Star Trek look kind of wasteful. Again, granted, they're not really wasting anything because, well, as long as you have enough power, you can create anything you want from the replicator, except when plot says, well, no, you can't create that because that would get them out of any situation and it doesn't make sense. But the problem to me is that it makes the characters seem wasteful, which goes against Star Trek and a lot of the principles. These are Starfleet officers who are professional. But when you see them being wasteful, it kind of goes against It doesn't really go against everything, but it just kind of makes them seem like they're not really thinking about what they're wasting, and maybe they are being a little wasteful, which isn't great because, again, these people are supposed to be pure and better than everyone else. That's something that we humans would do in the 21st century, not super evolved 24th century species would do. They wouldn't create waste, right? We assume. So that's a little bit why I don't like that explanation. Now, this second explanation is a little bit better because it's not quite as wasteful, but it still kind of paints the various characters in a more negative light. And that is that characters themselves just have so many tablets and pads because they want to look busy. Now, granted, all of the characters in Star Trek who are active Starfleet members actually do all of their work. They do a good job. They're under incredible amounts of stress. People like Captain Picard, Captain Sisko, Janeway, O'Brien, any of those guys, they're always doing, a million different things, saving the day week in and week out. But still, you gotta wonder if they're if they have times of, that they don't have to do as much work, and maybe they have more time to kind of sit around and relax. Maybe Captain Picard's in his ready room and he's, not actively doing something super official, and he has a bit of time to kill, but he thinks, you know what? Why not get a pad or get 3 pads out? That way, if someone walks in, they can see him working. Oh, Riker's at the door. Oh, let me pull out my pad. Good evening, number one. Thank you for coming in. I've been doing this very serious work right now. As you can see, I have my very important pads, and I've been typing on my computer or pressing buttons, and I'm being very productive right now. I don't know why I'm doing such a deep voice because it's nothing like Captain Picard, but I can't do a British accent, so what am I doing? So those are just kind of my thoughts on the whole pad situation. I know I've been ranting about this for a little while now, and it's probably not important. As I said, it's so insignificant, so unimportant that it really doesn't change anything about this series, and if they use less pads, would anyone even notice? Probably not. But it's something that I want to talk about for quite a while because it's just been bugging me. And I'm doing this channel because I love Star Trek and I want to rant about things most people, even who love the show, probably won't even think about themselves. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.